Then whatever they present, you'll be able to see what is it that you can take that. That's how you're going to get it. You're probably going to have to create something more.
Zoom king, microphone to USB microphone.
Lined in or something like that.
Lined in. Microphone to USB. That's the only thing that I've been seeing before.
I'll just go default. Just show it again. Yeah, I'll just go. Okay, we'll just test it. I don't know. I thought I just brought you something to use at the high level. In terms of how you're going to plug it, I also don't know.
I want to tape.
You can take it away. The question is, when you remove it, what are you going to do? This was just brought me. Just to give you some height or thought. But in terms of mounting, you need to figure it out how to mount it. Because that cam, remember, it's not meant for braid. For tripod. So maybe you can use insulation tape or what will tie it onto that thing. So it won't be perfect the way you like to have it.
Yeah, no, I was just asking maybe already you had a plan before.
No. You remember we've never used that thing before.
Yeah.
It's picking up this side. I'm getting sorry. It's picking up. But I'll try to pick up on the which mic.
Laptop. Pick up so, continue.
That's over this.
I think that's, for now, let's sort out the audio. That one is completely cosmetic together. Otherwise, if you worry that you can stop the streaming, then you sort out the sound.
I can't like see. The angle.
I used to. So now today's fine.
Good morning. It's 26 to 9. We are starting our program. Thank you very much. I'm now going to request Commissioner Pintuli from the Human Rights Commission to come and take the podium to talk to you about the reasons and why we are here and everything that makes us to be here. Commissioner.
Thank you, Program Director. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this second day of our hearing into water-related issues in the province of Limpopo. Apologies once again for starting late. I will therefore try to be as brief as I possibly can in making these opening remarks. I think important to emphasize is just a recap of the emphasis that we made yesterday, and it was quite clear that our main concern is in observing the problems that are faced in the province and throughout South Africa with regards to the deprivation of human rights, particularly these important resources such as water. The question is, what then needs to be done? Our emphasis yesterday was to ask ourselves around the issue of self-reliance of communities. What is it that communities can do themselves to take charge of their lives? And we ask this question because of the problem of dignity, because of the problem of self-actualization. When one does not have water for a day, for days, you could die without water for a prolonged time. But when you don't have access to water, your sense of self is negatively affected. And that then affects your ability to self-actualize. And that for us is the main concern. That we have talents that could contribute to the production of this nation who are deprived to do so because of the deprivation of their human rights. We heard yesterday from various groupings. We heard from academics who gave us a conceptual or contextual foundation for understanding the problems in the province. And quite clearly in their proposals, it was clear that a return to indigenous knowledge systems could assist us. And we pointed to an irony which does need to be emphasized. Limpopo, climate change and climate challenges and problems. And the reason for that is because of erratic rainwater patterns. Now the irony is that Limpopo in all of South Africa is the custodian or the home of the rain queen. And this is homework for all of us to think about the link between this irony that we are pointing to and this pointing to the need to return to indigenous knowledge systems in the ways that we think about addressing our challenges. We heard also from various members of different communities in Limpopo quite devastating and heartbreaking testimonies. We heard of the extents that people have to go to access water. There are families who rely on child support grants, for example, who have to then use 80 to 90% of that grant to buy water because it is unavailable. People who run orphanages who are unable to cook and bathe children because of a lack of access. These are the kinds of challenges that we see in Limpopo. Today and for the rest of the week, we have invited institutions such as Chapter 9 institutions, Public Protector, Auditor General, the CGE, to speak to us and to lay further context into these issues. We look forward to hearing particularly from the CGE on the direct relationship between the challenges with regards to water delivery and women's experiences of the process of living. We know that it is women in the main who use water. How are they affected? And how is their experience of living further diminished? They are already in the margins of existence because of historical, economic, political, and social deprivations. So then what happens when in the post-1994 era, this problem is exacerbated? These are some of the institutions that we hope to hear from today. In the main, we agree that at the center of our solutions is going to have to be a return to an ideological orientation that centers us on African spirituality. And what that means is a call to humanism, Ubuntu, to recognize that by depriving you of your rights, I am depriving myself and my own future. And we did so by pointing to philosopher, thinker, psychiatrist, Frantz Fanon, who elaborated more deeply on this idea of humanism and the problems that we face in the post-colony. How is it that we have a globally revered constitutional framework, yet we are the most unequal society in the world? It is a problem of ethical leadership. It is a problem of spiritual deprivation from our leaders. It can't be that you drive 5 expensive cars through a village that has potholes, that have no access to water. It means you can't see, not with your physical eyes, but you have lost the care for yourself and for your people. And these are the problems that we are facing, that we hope that we can work together in resolving. In closing, I'm going to carry on with this theme that we started with Frantz Fanon, and I'm going to borrow from a chapter in his book called The Wretched of the Earth, in pointing again of humanism. Most importantly, the role of society or communities themselves in taking charge of their own lives. He says, and I quote, "Really wants to be national, ought to govern by the people and for the people, for the outcasts and by the outcasts. No leader, however valuable he or she may be, can substitute himself for the popular will, and national government, before concerning itself about international prestige, ought to first give back their dignity to all citizens, fill their minds and feast their eyes with human things, and create a prospect that is human, because conscious and sovereign men and women dwell therein." That is Frantz Fanon reminding us of what it is that we need to do in order to change this depressing trajectory that we are on, not since 1994, but since the early eras of colonialism. But certainly there's something to be said about the work that we have done since 1994 to change this trajectory and the failures therein. It's quite clear when it comes to water issues, for example, that we do not have a water problem. We have a water management problem. With that, I welcome you once again. Thank you for coming, and I look forward to deliberations today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Now I'm going to circulate the mic so that we introduce ourselves. Each and every one of us will introduce themselves. Like I indicated, I am Mankese Tema, and then the mic will be roving.
I'm Maruma, sign language interpreter.
Ngwana Alfred, 015
Mention your being 0150.
Victoria, very good.
Sapamo Koko, Commission for Gender Equality.
Human Rights Commission.
My name is Laibon Maluleka, legal officer at the South African Human Rights Commission, the Limpopo Provincial Office.
as MMC responsible for technical services from vendor business.
Good morning, I'm Shazia Malati, legal advisor by Business. Good morning.
Good morning, my name is Billy Tawadiga from Tabazengi Local Municipality.
Morning, David Sokomana, and Organic Study.
Good morning, David Kolo from Motan Party.
My name is Pemima Dalani, South African Commission.
My name is Tolone David Apunga from Rebel District Municipality.
Good morning, my name is Ishmael Leggett, the General Manager for Rebel District.
Macho, I'm Doran Nanguza, Executive Mayor, Rebel District Municipality.
Good morning, I'm Eileen Carter from the Human Rights Commission.
It's Dora, South African Human Rights Commission, Limpopo.
Thank you very much. We just took the round of introductions. I will allow Bundavita to settle before taking the podium. However, I will then request Ntatemu Hokom to take the podium and talk to us about the impact of water shortage on the vulnerable communities. Say the podium, please.
Thank you, Program Director, for giving me this opportunity to speak. A special greetings to our Commissioner, Commissioner Ntuli, and colleagues from the South African Human Rights Commission, Dadema Vidula, Dr. Eileen, and all other provincial colleagues and colleagues from the National South African Human Rights